Good morning. I've got Matt Cox, real estate mogul, massive fraudster. I don't know. You be the judge. I'm about to find out. Matt, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Good morning.
What's going on?
Thanks for coming out here from Florida, dude. So tell me and tell them, who is Matt Cox?
So the short version is that I grew up in Tampa, had a learning disability, never good in school. Ended up getting a job graduating barely graduated high school, graduated college with a degree in fine arts, basically was worthless. Ended up working construction and a series of jobs that I kept getting let go from. And I was just doing horrible. And then I was dating a chick who was a stripper, and she was working her way through college. She got her degree in finance,
sure.
by the way. She got her degree in finance. So she had gone to work for a subprime company. This is in about 1999. No. Yeah. This was in 98 or 99. She ends up getting her degree.
That was the birth of the subprime market
Absolutely.
At that time.
Right. They were just starting to shoot up. And so she had gotten a job there, and she said, "You've got to come work here. You got to come work at this. You'd be great at this." And keep in mind, I'm working construction. And so I was like, I don't know anything about finance. And she's like, "You really don't have to know much. You just have to." You have to be personable. You have to be a salesman. And she goes, "You're a great salesman." And I'm working construction. Like I think I'd had several tickets, so I couldn't even sell cars. Like they wouldn't even let you sell cars because our insurance won't cover you.
You can't even drive a car.
Right. So I end up going to work there. I get my degree. I get my license. I start drumming up business, and I end up getting a couple of customers. And the first loan I get, I end up, and I'll tell this story real quick. This is how bad. I'm going to say this is the subprime market. I go in to my manager's office. She looks at the file, looks through the file, pulls one piece of paper, and she goes, "This looks great." Puts one piece of paper to the side. And I go, "Well, what's that?" She said, "Well, here's the issue." She said, "Your borrower's verification of rent shows that she was late 30 days in the last 2 years. She's been late on her rent. It's done. It's over. She's not getting a loan. This is a 95% loan.
Oh, gosh.
The chick's barely got 5% down. And the seller's paying all the closing costs. So I was like, this is over.
Negative equity from the jump.
It's over." So I said, "Well, what do I do?" And even though I already knew in my head it's over. And she pulled out a bottle of white out and started shaking it. And she said, "If I was you, I'd white out the 30 days, go make a copy in the copy machine, put it back in the file. Underwriting will never catch it."
Oh.
And keep in mind, I'd never broken the law. Other than a few tickets.
You're like early 20s, and this chick in finance who's your boss
28, 29 years. I'm like 29 years old. I'm like, well, but keep in mind, I'm 2 or 3 months behind on my truck payment. I'm about to be behind, or probably am at this point, behind on my mortgage.
Fraud, the highest motivator for corporate fraud is need.
Absolutely. Well, yeah.
I've read that.
Yeah. Well, it's something called the, it's like I think they call it the trifecta, where it's like the need, justification, and ability.
Yeah.
And you're in the position to do it, right? And they said anybody in that situation will commit fraud. So anyway, my manager told me to do it. I said, okay. I remember she said, "Look, worst that happens, if underwriting thinks you're involved, they'll fire you. Nobody's calling the FBI. You'll be fine." So I go and I do it, and I thought, what does it matter? Like, they're about to take my truck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And now she's just made it easier. Socially, it's more acceptable. She's lowered the hurdle. Nothing happened anyway.
Right. And I had no clue any of this is happening, but I also trusted her. So I white it out. I go ahead, put it in there. I sweat bullets for about 3 or 4 or 5 days. I get a phone call from underwriting. They said, "Hey, you're ready to close."
And you get a commission check.
Right. I closed 3 or 4 days later. I get a $3,500 commission check. That was a ton of money 20 years ago.
That just changed that's like 10 grand today.
Yeah, that's like 25 years.
That changed the trajectory of your life.
Right. Well, because the next guy that walks in,
Yep.
he made, let's say, $55,000. But if he made 60, he could get the loan. So I pull out the X-Acto knife. I changed his W-2s. I changed his pay stubs.
Oh, so you took it a little further that time.
Oh, yeah. So, it gets worse and worse. And so I did that. That loan closes. Can't believe it. And they called and they verified his job, but they don't verify the W-2s and pay stubs. Like they just say, does he work there? Yes. They already have the W-2s and pay stubs. We're not going to try and verify what he makes.
Verify that 'cause it's like a dog.
Right.
Like a
Yeah, we just need to know, is he still working there? How long has he been there? Oh, he has been there for 3 years? Okay, fine. So that closes. Listen, next person comes in, there's another issue. Next person, there's another issue. And so I just start.
You're a top sales guy. You're closing deals that no one can close.
I worked there about 6 months. They made me a manager of a brand and location. And then that company actually lost its credit line. Not because of me, just because they were just, it was just business. They lost the credit line. They were struggling to fund loans for a few months. And the
what a
Department
perfect
of Banking
time to do something wrong, because with all the hoopla that was going to happen, all that stuff was swept under the rug because the subprime market had bigger problems. So no one would ever find what you were doing.
Well, this is 2000.
Well, okay, that's early, but still in 6-7 years, it all fell apart and no one would be looking at what you did. They got bigger problems.
And that's really irrelevant because most of these people paid anyway. You see what I'm saying? Like people think, oh, you committed fraud. Yeah, but they paid.
They still paid, so there's no red flag.
Right, there's no red flag. There's nobody ever comes looking, because once you've paid 4 or 5 payments or 6 payments or 2 years worth of payments, nobody ever says, hey, wait a second, let's check those W-2s from 5 years ago.
There's no reason to audit.
First of all, the statute of limitations is probably up. So regardless, I moved there. I ended up opening my own company.
What kind of company?
Mortgage company. Because in Florida, if you had your mortgage license and you paid an extra $250, or maybe it was $350, you just had to send in an extra $350, and now you're a mortgage brokerage business owner, and you can hire brokers.
Why not?
So I opened up my own brokerage business. I hired 12 guys.
When you went in to do that, were you intentionally, did you ever think like, okay, I don't need to do that anymore? Or were you like, I can keep doing this? Like, did that ever happen in your mind?
No, I'm a fraudster. I mean, I'm
through and through. Once you got bit by that vampire, it's for life.
Right. Literally, keep in mind, we set this place up like it looked like almost like you walked in, you thought you walked into a credit union. Like it's not like it was a seedy office. This place is nice. And so people would walk in, and every once in a while, a legitimate customer would accidentally stumble in, because by this point it'd been after 6 months or a year, you've got real estate agents that are coming to you saying, listen, my borrower cannot get a loan.
Help.
I need your help. And then this used to irritate me, because we would have some real estate agents come in like twice a month, and they'd say, look, so I got a real issue with this guy. And it's like, wait a second. You sent him to your buddy over at...
Why don't you send him to me first?
Why am I'm getting the only aftermath. I'm only getting the guys you can't send to your buddy. Your buddy needs to be cut out completely, or stop sending people to us. And so eventually they start sending people. So like I said, every once in a while they'd send you a good one. And that person would come in, and I'd take an application or pull the credit, talk to them about their job, and then you'd sit there and I'd be like, this guy can get a conventional loan, which we can do. We could do conventional. We were an FHA lender. We did VA and subprime. So I would look at the guy and I'd go, like, you can get a regular loan. And then I'd say, okay, well, I'm going to give you one of the brokers. And I'd give him this person to one of the brokers, because I wasn't even interested in doing a conventional loan. I wanted to do stuff that was, creative financing, right? Like if I didn't need to change your W-2 or fake your bank statement, like what are we doing here? Give this guy to Susan. How did you get in my office?
Wow.
Because the brokers would get their clients, and they'd come in, they'd walk in, they go, hey man, you got a minute? Yeah, what's up? They'd sit down and go, okay, here's what's going on. He's been on his job. He's got this. So boom, boom, boom. What do I do? Where do I send him? And how do I fix this? And I go, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to send him to Mortgage Warehouse. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to fake the bank statements. And then I'd explain what we were going to do to fix whatever dilemma they had, and we'd come up with a reasonable solution.
This became the process.
That was it. Every day was, and they would joke, the brokers would joke that Matt was in the office doing arts and crafts. Like, oh, he's in the middle of
X-Acto knife in your glue.
He's in the middle of an arts and crafts.
So this is like
project.
thousands of loans.
Yeah, $40 million worth is what the estimate was.
What?
But who knows? It could have been higher. It could have been lower. I was glad when they said 40. So when the FBI said 40, I was like, oh.
So then, okay. So how long did this business run?
So that business ran like that for let's say a couple years, and then
what's going on in your lifestyle? Like you're starting to earn money. You're a business owner. Like it's coming in. Like
I'm married. I've got 50.
Early 30s.
The most rental units we ever had was like, I think 54 rental units. 54.
So you start taking the money and buying real estate.
Yeah, we're buying real. Of course, yeah, we're going to invest in some real estate.
Okay.
And I married this chick that I dated for a couple months, and she got pregnant.
The stripper?
No, she was gone. She actually ended up marrying the owner of that company, Kelly Aarons. And they, Kelly Aarons, and they live in South Carolina or North Carolina. They live in, I can't remember the little town, but they live there. She got pregnant. He divorced his wife, married her. I think they have 2 kids, and they're happily married. So,
Good for them.
yeah, her version is, that, it's romantic. It's a romantic story.
Yeah. She's one of the one out of 1,000 that actually went to college and stripped away along the way.
Met a rich guy, slept with him for 6 months while I was paying all the bills. And eventually he left his wife. She left me, and she married him and had a couple kids. And her version of that story is it's romantic. She fell in love. She married a rich older guy. She fell in love. And my version of that story is you're a whore. So
she
anyway,
leaves a couple parts out.
Yeah, but listen, and what's funny is from both perspectives, we're both right. Right? Like it's not saying it's not romantic from her version. From my version, she didn't leave with a broken heart. So
that was a hell of an alley-oop from you to her.
Yeah. I would go. She left with a new guy and some real estate. So I left with the debt. So what happened is I started dating a girl. She got pregnant. I married her. We start buying real estate. Everything's going good. And one of my brokers, a woman named Gretchen, had gone and opened her own company, right? So, and we had it's not like where they take off and take all the files. Like she's like, listen, I want to open my own place. I was like, absolutely. Cool. Like we had a good relationship. Like don't, like you can take the files, even the ones you started from here, like don't do anything stupid. And we were friends. We went on vacation together, babysat each other's kids. Like we were good.
Oh, okay.
And so they open up their own company. And they'd been for like 6 or 8 months, and they ended up getting a couple of investors who were running a straw man scam. And they got caught by the FBI, and Gretchen had been doing all the loans.
Were they making loans that weren't 2 properties or something like that?
No, they were making they were having some guy come in who's got good credit who would buy a property for $1 million. He'd buy 3 or 4 properties for $1 million, supposed to make a couple payments and let them go into foreclosure, but the houses were really selling for like $400,000. So they're jacking up the appraisal. They'd take that money, and this is how they got caught. Like the guy he's a straw man. Like he's just a pretend person to do it. He gets a couple $100,000 and then he leaves.
But he's still there. If that boils,
Well, when that collapses, the FBI comes in and says, this guy bought 6 houses. Like, what do you do?
Where's he at?
Never made a payment.
I know these stories sound crazy, but could all these testimonials be wrong? No, they're not. Many times we show financials. Many times we talk about addresses. The stories are real, the profit's real, and the people are real. And you know what? The program is real. Look, I do have a coaching program. I've been running it for years now. We train folks every single semester to either start a new business if they're a high W-2 earner, or to create, repair, fix their real estate business. It really works for both of those. So look, I got a few minute video. There's a link down below. If you're even remotely curious, you owe it to yourself to click on it and just see what it's about. If it's for you, great, let's talk. If it's not, go on to the next video. Go check out the link below in the caption.
You're just an idiot.
So,
First payment default, immediate fraud. So anyway, she gets in trouble.